Erica. Hello,
Can you
hello.
can you hear Erica? Can you
Yes.
hear? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. My it just died. It was unplugged, so I just charged it now, and it's good. So that was all. That's why you didn't hear me, Bina. Just decided right at that moment to run out of battery. So brilliant, 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 brilliant. How are you, Erica Jane? I was just telling Bina. Let's see if my Facebook will allow me. I saw there's a message from Kay, but I haven't had a chance to read it yet. She said she got the results back. So let's go and see.
Yes.
So she's okay?
She does have COVID.
Oh my gosh. Wow. I feel fine, except I still have the rattle cough. Taking it easy and drinking lots of water. Wow. 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 Well, a very mild case it will be, right?
Absolutely.
Let me just send a message here, please. Erica Jane, if you don't mind. And also, they at least have treatments available now, which they didn't have before.
Mm.
We'll all intend this. We will. Right, Erica Jane?
For sure.
We'll intend it with all of our might. Okay. Somewhere along the line, my emojis got all messed up, and I can't access them anymore. So.
Oh dear. That's not
Wow,
good.
and you know it's really powerful. I'm assuming Kay shared with you yesterday, just her finding that piece of being, yes.
Mhm. Absolutely.
And from the tenor of the email, I feel that's carried through, and
Mm-hmm.
that the test's positive. It's okay. It is what it is. I'll deal with it as best I can. You know, I'll get through it. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, she seems to be doing fine.
Yes.
She's
Yes.
seems to
Yes.
have a really mild case, so that's
Yes.
good.
I mean, I can hear it through the email, through no, at least not email, through the text, and that's really awesome. That's really awesome. It was a very big day for Kay. I was really thrilled to hear that. I mean, it was really super magical. It was just fantabulous. You know, really fantabulous. Like I said, you know, people struggle their whole lives for this, actively pursuing it, and don't
Mm-hmm.
succeed. You know, don't succeed. So it's really beautiful. It's really beautiful and perfect timing too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, without that being testing positive, kind of, you know, stressful, and then it aggravates the whole situation.
Right.
And you know, the thing could be okay, but then it just gets worse. So you know, most of the cases with COVID, fortunately, are very mild, and you know, people don't even get hospitalized,
Mm-hmm.
kind of chill and relax and at home and all that. So,
Yep.
I have a feeling, you know, strong feeling that that's exactly what it'll be for K. So very cool, very cool, brilliant. I love it. I love it. How about you? How are you holding up with this? You're okay? I'm assuming also, yes? I
I'm
mean,
all
I can
right.
hear. You know, it's one of those things. We have to be very careful of overreacting to it, and also reacting in a way which cues it to make it worse. Yeah?
Right. Well, and I mean, at this point, there's nothing we can do other than wait it out and see how it goes. So
Precisely.
there's
Precisely. There is something we can do. We can stay positive.
right.
Right. And trust, of course. Yes, where trust comes into it, really profoundly. Right? Wow, you got big hands.
Thanks.
when you come up to, you know, you see, it looks so huge. Look at that. So yeah. So Bina and I were having fun. I was making Bina the host because I was messing about with the connection, and
Oh, yeah.
still trying to get the phone thing to work right. And so then if I make Bina the host, if I drop off, then you guys can continue. It's not a problem. It
Right.
works out pretty well. So, but I kept coming back in, and Bina says, "No, but I'm not admitting you. How's it that you can just sneak in?" So she's a de facto host. It's not a de facto host, but a de facto host, a de facto host.
A
Yeah.
flawed one, yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Ah, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. All right, Erica Jane, where are we at? I'm so keen to continue on your list, but I shall exercise monumental discipline and wait until tomorrow. Yes,
Oh, dear.
yes. Massive
Wow.
discipline. Kay,
Before,
you're in my heart. Just so you know, Kay, you're in my heart. You know, just because we're continuing doesn't mean I've forgotten you. You're right there. You know, in situations like this, I hold it. I hold it here. I hold it there. I hold it in my will. You know, I stay connected to it like I do to the center column of, you know, whatever our intent is. Same thing on things like this. I hold it. I hold it very tight until it's no longer needed. So, very powerful.
Sil, can you hear me?
Yes, I do. I hear you and the entire kitchen. I'm just teasing you, but I hear you. Yes,
But just
Tina, I hear.
the obvious, yeah, just to make the obvious, my two cousins, my cousin and his wife, they both had this, and it was a very serious one. They almost all the lungs were white, and you can understand the situation in intensity, but they are perfectly fine now.
Yeah.
No matter how it is curable.
Right. Right.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah, I'm glad they're doing better. That's scary.
Yeah. I mean, it's a different world we're in now. You know, it's come a long way, and they have treatment. So yeah, yeah. But beside which, you
Mhm.
know, just in terms of mindset and attitude, and you know, Kay is fit and healthy and all that. So you know, so it'll be good.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, it's a good thing.
Absolutely.
Just to catch up on things with you, everything went okay with the roofing and all that.
I was not here when they
Oh.
came by. Joe was the one that talked to them, but I think they got it all worked out. I'm not sure if he has made the payment yet or if they've worked that part out, but I think everything went well.
Okay. I mean, Joe was happy at the end of all of that.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you go. I mean, if he was okay, he was happy. I mean, if he was coming home and yeah, then maybe not so much, right?
They got it worked out, so it's all good.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Very good. Brilliant. 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 And you, Erica? Just how are
Doing
you?
fine.
Oh,
Doing
okay. Brilliant. All right. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Where were we last? That reminds me. Oh my gosh, you're gonna get caught up soon. I've been so busy with all this other stuff. I'm a bit behind on doing the audio, so I think you're gonna be catching up. I have to hurry up after. Yeah,
What about you two? How are you doing?
yeah. Just busy, and you know, trying to get all sorts of stuff worked. You know, the thing with the phone is kind of messing up things because I got a phone and a SIM and it's not working properly. So I don't know if
Oh,
I'm just in a poor coverage area or not. But anyway, so it's because the phone is a very important thing. So I'll probably just make sure to get another phone. At least I have this as a backup because the phone is going to be very important going forward. So
right.
it's probably good for me to have two phones, you know. I actually have a third one, but it's too old for the SIM. So well,
Mhm.
it works off internet, you know, Wi-Fi. But so I do have backup options. So yeah,
Good.
yeah, yeah. So
We
you
are
know,
good.
because as I'm traveling around, you know, that's going to be my internet to sell. So I better make sure that it actually works. You know.
Right.
Yeah. Other than that, you know, you find a Wi-Fi place, not the end of the world, but still, I don't want to have to resort to that. I want to be able to, you know, park it wherever I'm at, you know, in a nice view overlooking, I don't know, something, or any nice place I'm parking. That's and it's okay. Here we go. We have our Zoom from wherever, you know. So as I travel until I've settled in and wherever I'm going to
Yeah.
settle.
That's cool.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So I'm looking forward to visiting you guys.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. I mean, you don't have any timelines on selling and moving and all of that yet, yeah?
Not yet. We're still trying to figure out what our game plan is at this point. So.
All right, brilliant, brilliant. So just pay attention to attunement, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Extraneous things, anomalous things, you know. I mean, look with Sue, you know, what she brought. That's some powerful stuff there, you know. And she shared, you know, some of it with me. And boy, am I thrilled! I'm just so happy. I am just so happy for you, Erica.
I appreciate
You
it.
know, in my view, you know, you probably know already. You know, at least Bina, pretty sure Bina shares this. That, you know, we do find you a really remarkable and exceptional, wonderful, you know, fantastic person. And I feel that you know, you beside Joe and Kay, I don't know, I feel that you've not really had opportunity to experience a world that isn't one that you now know and are familiar with. Other worlds, other ways of being, other styles, other you know, cultures, and that. And I don't mean culture as in foreign, even within America. You know, there's different cultures. So
Right.
I feel that you just through these people that Sue is connecting to you, it's a start of a connectivity to a moreness, to expand
Mm-hmm.
your circle into this moreness. And this, to me, makes me very, 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 very happy. I feel actually it is kind of a culmination intent of what we are doing.
Right.
Or not necessarily a culmination, just an intent, an application intent. In the same way as Robin is a materialization of an intent for Sue. You know, Sue zoomed through it, and then she has to redo it. But of course, the redoing it, you know, with this other stuff to do, it becomes a bit of a push me pull you. Now, of course, because Robin it comes through her, and she's, you know, right after Robin, she's always on when Robin is on, so she's
Right.
redoing it that way. So
Yeah.
that's what I mean, you know, intent. It's just unreal. And Kai was saying the same thing, you know, and you too. You find stuff that just connects. It's like whatever you're watching, whatever's happening, it's so pertinent, so relevant to exactly what we are doing, and it's part of what we do. I see it with every single person. It's an incredible thing how these situations come about and materialize, and they are so pertinent to intent. It's unbelievable, unbelievable. So I'm really thrilled, and Sue, you know, she got all excited and she got into it and she gave you tons of stuff, right? I said, man, you know, I know you're gonna engage Erica's triple Virgo side, and you know she's gonna get all into it and that stuff. So it's fun, it's fun. So share with us as it goes along, please. You know, very cool to hear how that goes and the connecting with the people and all that. It's probably going to be a while before you go there, but you know, you connect on social media if they're on, or you start emailing or whatever, texting each other. You know, it's there. So I said to Sue also, I said, you know, the magic of this is the gift in it for you. And from our perspective, and she feels the same, that you are the gift going the other way, you and Joe. So, you know, so works both
Very
ways.
sweet. I
Yes, yes.
appreciate that. Yeah.
To appreciate yourself and be aware, you know, just to understand that this is not just a one-sided deal. Whoever you are going to go and connect with and visit with and be with, you are going to be a gift also. So it's good to know. It's good to know. You know, it's a piece of being that comes from knowing ourselves like that. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's a very humbling perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
But very potent. But very potent.
Sure.
How are you sleeping?
Doing fine, I think.
Ah, good. Okay. I noticed something interesting with the sleeping, by the way. When I wake up with the heat, basically I have to drink water even though I'm not thirsty. It makes no sense because it just goes right through, but it cools me down and then I'm good for a little while again. It does affect my sleep. It makes no sense. It doesn't matter how much I hydrate before going to sleep. It makes no difference. It's a bit silly the way it works to my mind. It's a bit inefficient, but okay. So
Well,
very interesting.
never worked.
Anything on the standing?
No, I have not done my
How's your
yoga or
yoga?
standing. while. Yeah, I
Nope.
haven't done either.
Ah, right. Okay. Well, there's lots of exciting stuff going on, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
What you thinking about today specifically?
I don't know that I've had a whole lot of things ruminating today.
Feeling, not thinking. I'm sorry, I said thinking, but I meant feeling.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been kind of on autopilot a bit today.
Interesting.
So I don't know that there's anything in particular coming up more than anything else. I have continued thinking, continued with my intent for this week, which I think we were talking about that last time, of sort of appropriately coming to peace with and thinking about death and seeing that as a leveraging tool.
Using death as an advisor, right?
Sort of, in a way. So yeah, I've been thinking about that this week. Today, I haven't done a whole lot of deep thinking yet, so.
I have a little story somewhere, since we're on the topic of death. For me, death is magical leverage. And for me, it really was a big deal. It shifted, and in the thinking about death, it translated into the culmination of thinking it through to the end. It came about that the conclusion for that was time is precious.
Mm-hmm.
That's it, just those 3 words. And ever since that moment, I made every effort to use every single second. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Not to waste any time ever. And this has really stood me in great stead. And that's why I love multitasking, because it's the same thing. But to really use your time. Now, that doesn't mean being busy all the time. It is to absolutely understand that when you are chilling out, you chill out properly. It's using your time effectively. So that's the thing. Don't be doing it half. Don't be wasting it. So there's all sorts of the layeredness, the complexity of using our time preciously and maximizing every single second. It's a complex circumstance, but it leads to deliberate living, of course, and that's the key. It leads to the aware living. It leads to living with forethought. Forethought of consciousness, because you start to you anticipate, and through that you get to use your time a bit more effectively, and you set your life strategically. You don't plan in order to do it, but you set your life strategically so that you have the fluidity to adapt and respond and be flexible and adaptable, again using your time to best effect. Plus also you want to be leveraging what you're doing. And this came in, Bill Gates was a motivation there. Bill Gates, when he came up, he was an instant billionaire, and I think he was the first that I recall, or that I was aware of, at least the first in the public eye, that went basically from a 0 to a billion. Right? You had plenty of overnight millionaires. It's long since not been a thing. But the instant billionaire, this was a novelty. So when Bill Gates came up, he was the thing, and he was very young at that time. I think he was like 25 or something, right? So, I mean, this is now in the early 80s. I mean, it's right after, the computer started off. It went very quickly. I think, even by 1985, he was already a billionaire, I think. Anyway, but then I kind of looked at him, and, was very little TV at that stage, but nonetheless, you still saw a bit of him. And I said, would I like to be Bill Gates without the money? And I said, hell no, thank you very much. Not on your life. So I said, that path that he has to go success first, be a person later, I didn't think it to be a particularly strategically viable path, because I saw the dangers of how you can get stuck in that, have all those pressures, the time that you're doing. I felt the reverse though. If you spent your time first being the person that you would like to be, that is to me, a more valuable usage of time, right?
Right.
And when in terms of when it comes to death, Bill is now only really starting to sort of get his act together as a person, right? And he
Mhm.
has, you know, in the last, say, 10 years or so, he's come a long way. You can see his personal progression, right? But he's still behind the curve as far as I'm concerned. Still way behind the curve, right?
Right.
Completely. I mean, you see it now as we are doing Web Impeccable. You see others involved. You can see clearly. It's like, man, you know, and I know people like Benny. He knows somebody that, you know, counsels them, especially Bill's wife, and you know,
Mm.
spends, you know, so. But they lost, you know. I mean, and the guy who's giving them all this counsel, it's kind of, you know, kind of Sedona woo stuff a little bit, you know. Okay, not too much, but again, they're missing the mark, really. You know, they're spending a lot of time. It's been with them for years now, and you know, all that stuff. It's just jabber, you know. So
Mhm.
my point is, because they haven't worked on it themselves, they don't have the foundations. They're not really able to even discern what it is that they are looking for. And no, because you spent a
Right.
lifetime on other stuff. You're coming at it at the tail end. So not an effective strategy. So, you know,
Yeah.
in terms of looking at this matter from the consequence of death, what we are doing now is your number one recommendation from death,
Mhm.
right? This is the best use of your time because it
Right.
leverages anything else. If you are going to fall into a situation like Bill Gates from attunement or whatever, any situation, you prepared. You can deal with
Mhm.
it. You're there. You can deal with it with less stress, with less ease. Look at the COVID thing right now.
Right.
We are able to deal with it with sobriety, with perspective, with discernment, with peace, and with trust.
Mhm.
If there is not a, you know, an exemplification of the value of what we are doing, other than this, then I don't know what would be, right?
Right.
I mean, it's really profound. It really just shows us where we're at, and how far we've come. Yes,
Right.
I mean, this is a big deal. I mean, if you think, you know, a while back, if this had been a deal, it would have been a different reaction. No,
Right. Could be. Yeah.
very different reaction. So it's a magical thing what you're doing, and I want to share another little perspective here. I have a fun little story. Just two guys go sailing anyway, and it just puts a bit of sailing in, all the technical stuff of sailing. So it's kind of fun. But the story is while they're sailing, so it kind of goes through, you know, all the sailing stuff, and then they have a conversation. And the conversation is that the one of the two friends brings up this point, say, you know, I've got this little philosophy that I'm working on. It's tentative, I'm working on it, but the focus of the philosophy is that we live in order to die. The point of living is thus to learn to die with ease and with joy.
Right.
Oh, this is the conversation. So, all right. So then they start exploring, and you know, still, that I can't remember what the conversation goes like. I'll have to go look it up. But that's the point, though. But if we start to think about this, it's kind of an interesting philosophy. It's a speculative position, of course, but it's one of those where whether it's true or not doesn't make any difference. You get value from it either way, right? Because if you really learn to die, and one of the points was to want to die, because you can't just be at
Mhm.
ease with it. You need to see this as a positive, and then they go a
Right.
little bit deeper, and there's a logic to it. So now, I mean, I'm short circuiting, you know, they'll take a long route in the conversation. At some point, we can even do this. We can go and read the story, and you guys can be the one character. You know, we can play the characters, and we can have a conversation, and then we can, you know, write the story, as it were. Anyway, we
Yeah.
can continue it. You can just be the characters. Anyway, so if we think of this in the bigger context of, especially we look at, you know, the context of fluid reality, and say, what is it that we are looking to prepare for in terms of all of our impeccability, all of our awareness, all of our sobriety? It is to be able to deal with fluid reality, right? To have the integrity to be able to deal with fluid reality, right? Not just the integrity, but the awareness, the nobility, the ethics, the foresight, every single thing, and the attunement. Because if you can't, then you're going to be basically, if you are able to live in a fluid reality, in other words, where you're manifesting left, right, and center, right? For instance, like the Greek gods, yeah? Without having impeccability, you're just a mess. Not just do you create a mess for others, right? As came up in the sessions yesterday or sometime, when we are not impeccable, we make everyone else work harder, right? That's what happened with those unimpeccable Greek gods in the stories. Everybody else had to work harder because of them. So that's not cool. And also, I feel as a psychology, can you imagine the basic misery and stress and boredom and conflict and all of the stuff that's going on inside them? They're psychologically, they're all a mess, those Greek gods. Yeah? Ah, you froze. You froze. I'll wait. Vina, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I can hear you, but your picture's frozen.
Yeah. I just waited when you guys freeze, and I just wait till you unfreeze so we don't lose. You know, it doesn't stutter like that.
No,
Story. Say again, Bina?
we can hear you. No problem.
Yeah. So I just waited. So anyway, so I was just saying the Greek gods. If you look at them psychologically, they're a mess, right? Ah, you're frozen. Oh, you were just still. You weren't frozen. You were just still. I thought you were frozen. So anyway, so we don't want to be that. So if we look at this whole situation of death to getting to this point of fluid reality as a potential alternative reality, we need to be in a space to be able to deal with fluid reality. Now, let's just assume that, so that's the first part of what we're doing our entire lives. But now we are on this point of looking forward to death, wanting death, being excited about death. Why? Because of a strategic option. In the moment of death, this is the theory of this philosophy. This is what the philosophy postulates. When we die, we shift from fixed reality to fluid reality, right? Now you create whatever it is that is your mindset, your mood, your attitude, your projection, your fears, your hopes. What you die with, you create. So therefore, if you are a horrible, rotten person, you're going to create a hell. It's fantastic. It's a good system, right? If you're a nice, happy person, you're going to create that heaven. And maybe you're going to create that boring heaven that people imagine because, well, you know, sometimes good, nice people can be a bit imaginationless, right? So if we think of it in this context, and especially if there's a little bit of fear and doubt involved in your transition, you're going to now step into a reality that essentially is one that is the summation of you. And likely, most people won't even create fluid reality because they can't imagine it. So all they do is recycle again, and they come out of the box again, basically where they left off last time. Right? Just a continuation. This makes perfect sense to me, right? And if I think of myself, of how I came out of the box, the more I think of this now, the more it makes perfect sense. However, if I have now basically spent my whole life training myself for this exciting possibility of death, because death now enables me to shape the world that I want to have. So I set my intent, my mindset, now I'm eager, I'm excited, I'm changing the entire paradigm. And I don't go into it with just the expectations and the mindset and the beliefs, which just take me basically to start off where I left off, right? So yes, there's some movement, but you know, if you look at people's lives, how much did they truly progress as an individual, themselves? Not that much, right? Some people actually devolve a little bit even, right? I've seen some BMNs very clearly devolve. So we want to be in the space where when we go into it, we have this full expectation of more, of newness, of excitement, of fluidity, of flexibility, of fluid reality. But we can only do this and have this newness created if we have not 1 ounce of fear, of doubt, or of regret, of any kind of stress, right? This is why we need to look forward to death and not see it as in any way a negativity, a tragedy, and end and nothing. No, we got to be excited for it. We got to want to step through that portal. It's got to be a deliberate act. Yes? in this philosophy at any rate. And it makes a lot of sense to me as well. And part of this too, just to segue just a little bit, when it comes to others transitioning, when I do grief counseling for people, and I don't care to, but I've done a lot of it, and it's very effective. I just remind them of this fact. I said, look, here's somebody off and they're going, and you are still connected to them energetically. Now, if you have doubt and stress or fear and unhappiness or whatever, botheration, whatever, sadness, isn't that an energy that's going to be holding them back? I'm just waiting. Has he frozen? Let me close the apps on the phone.
There you go.
Yeah. I just closed everything that I can possibly close. So
I'm still frozen.
yeah. It'll come in a second. I got a few more to close. So.
Okay.
It's very greedy, Zoom. It wants all the resources. So I don't know where I broke off, but I was
Yes.
just saying when people transition, and I remind them of their loved
No.
ones. Huh? What?
You said, I don't know where I left off, but, and then it like stopped again for a couple
Oh, brilliant. Anyway, I was just saying, when people transition, if you're all sad and mournful and all that, I feel that's an energy that holds them back, because essentially what you're saying, I don't want you to go.
Mm-hmm.
It's an intent. So come on, let them go. Let them be on their way, on peace, So, and that does change it for people. I say, don't be selfish, you can't be holding them back,
Right.
So very powerful. So there's a lot to me for death. I find death a very positive circumstance. Like I said, death is the ultimate advisor, and it's the ultimate mourners. And when we shift the concept of death and we start to just let go of that word because it has so much baggage, and we'll just say, from now on, I'm just going to call that the ultimate mourners. And we start thinking about death as mourners. Isn't that something else? That's the other thing that I can do. I can put you in here. Let's do that.
Looking for a poetry I have in Urdu, and it's a very small one, very famous. It's about what is death and what is life. And if I can translate it, okay, it will not be a justice, but still I will try. This is that. It's a harmony of particles. Life is harmony of particles, and death is the I in English for that, but how can I say that? The assembling of these particles. That's it. This is that it is just a harmony. Life is harmony of different particles, and death is the assembling of these particles. That's interesting. Means that actually no birth and no death, because it is just a harmony, which is for me the concept behind that. Because if we say that the particles are atoms and are not breaking down, or they are not making up, it is just a balance and a pattern or a harmony in them. Then we get this life, and then they're assembled to be again in the harmony.
Right.
Is a death and life. So it is really interesting for me, this concept, and I was thinking to translate it as much as I can, and I will go there again. But it's my childhood memory. I read that one in my childhood, and I was continuously thinking about that.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Oh,
we will discuss it later. Please continue, sir.
That was the main part of it, to shift and see death as mourners.
Right.
That's it for me. I want to get rid of this term death. That's it, just mourners. I live my life until I transition into mourners, and I'm doing every single thing that I can to be prepared for that eventuality. Right? Whatever way, shape, or form it can take, and I'm open. But I am absolutely going to intend and set my intent to intend the mourners that I wish, to essentially intend fluid reality.
Right.
That's it. And which is ultimate freedom, really, right? So that's it. That's the path for me. And also to have my sobriety intact, so that no matter what happens, I don't lose my marbles. I don't disperse. I keep myself together, as it were, right? And that's the ultimate thing, because I do feel that the physicality, it's a container for our energy, because we kind of all over the show. If we didn't have a container as an energy cloud, we'd probably disperse, until we learn to have an internal cohesion of self, right? I don't think most people, if I were to just look at them and I say, okay, let me take them out of the body and have them as this energy cloud out in the ether, I truly don't feel, and myself included, as in previously in my life, that I would have had the cohesion to stay together and tight. Yeah, my things weren't integrated; they weren't connected, and this is the magic of what we're doing. And one of the reasons that we haven't actually discussed yet, for the dictionary of power. As we go through this, more and more, every single thing is connected. Yes?
Right.
This is the cohesion that we're talking about, where things make sense and they are together. Now, we as an individual, our world, our reality, it's all connected. It's all a part of us. So in that moment of transition into the mourners, where we lose the container of the physical, we don't lose our cohesion, because, well, everything is connected. How can you? It's not possible, right?
Uh-huh. Okay.
That's it. I don't know what word did I freeze on? What word did I freeze on?
It's really interesting for me. I will go there and then reread again, and then we will share.
Right. I love that. Yeah.
It
Reread
changes the
what,
whole
Lena?
concept of poetry I was discussing before. Because it means that the poet is saying that this is not something coming out of nowhere.
Right.
It is always already existing thing, and we are not going to end by any means.
Right.
Yeah,
It is
yeah.
sampling, composing of it harmony, which is interesting.
Yeah, one more point before I drop off again. That's really potent here. So as we've gone into and are going into mourners, the more and more we go into mourners, the more and more life and the world and the universe and ourselves make sense. Yes? In this context of awareness development, awareness growth, does death as a finality make any sense at all?
Not as a real finality, no.
No, exactly. It makes no sense at all, because we are seeing daily, in our every single day, we are seeing the exquisiteness of the entire magical genius of how everything is constructed and revolves around the development and enhancement of awareness.
Right.
Or in Erica language, of choice, right?
Mhm.
Everything is geared towards you choosing, because when you choose deliberately, freely, you are choosing awareness. The act of free deliberate choice is the act of awareness development and enhancement.
Right.
It's the same thing, right? So if every single thing is geared towards this end, then to what purpose if it's going to just end at some point?
Right. Absolutely.
It makes no sense. Therefore, that, like you said, a true finality makes no sense whatsoever. Makes no sense whatsoever. Yeah, it might be possible simply just to keep us on our toes, and it is something to be truly feared. But that might be, I would imagine this is not that easy to come by, actually, in the scheme of things. But it is possible, I would imagine. So again, if you live impeccably and you're careful, then that's not a reality. That would be, to me, the way the system would make sense. That yes, it's possible. You want to be an income poop and go and waste it and throw it all away? Sure. But, if you live impeccably, nope. So I just can't see this as a feasible reality. Let's put it this way. We see daily the high probability, or at least it's already for us a conviction of things making sense in the entirety. Therefore, in because we see that how everything makes sense. When you just throw death into the mix now, it makes no sense. It becomes a nonsensical conception.
Right.
And I think this is the problem. It's that it's a viral conception that's taken hold, and it is the chief habit of habits that we have to undo.
Mm.
To not get out of, or at least to get out of this habit of thinking of death as death.
Right. Right.
That's it. We have to constantly reconceptualize it. That's why I'm saying I'm still using the word here, but going forward, I don't want to. I simply want to use it as mourners. This is it. A transition into, we're in mourners now, but transition into alternative mournesses.
Right.
And who knows, there may be very many different forms of it. That to me is the key. Absolutely, to reconceptualize that, because it just makes no sense otherwise. And I refuse to even use that word because it doesn't make sense. Yeah.
I shared that the other day that one of the things I had been thinking a lot about was death. Our view, our initial view of death as an end, being a necessary delusion, basically.
And yes, that's a beautiful way of saying it, Erica. A
Because
necessary delusion. Yes, yes, I feel that too. Yeah, yeah.
we need to, up to a certain point, we need to believe that death is an end.
Yes,
Because
yes,
if we didn't, it wouldn't apply the same kind of
yes,
pressure
yes,
that it does
yes.
when we believe that death is an end.
Correct,
It
correct.
encourages us to
Yes,
take
yes,
advantage of the now.
yes,
Eventually transitioning out of that and saying, okay, I realize now that death is not really an end, but I understand why I needed to believe that, because it served as a leveraging tool to teach me
exactly,
something.
exactly, exactly. It's very, very, very powerful. So, in honor of that,
Ooh.
I took them out for the glare. Oh, so I thought, well, there you go. Well, we'll just put out it's like death losses, no? So it's to protect you from the glare.
You look like you're in the Matrix. I like it.
There you go. I never wear dark glasses. I have them in the car in case I absolutely need them. But I actually don't like wearing them. Yeah, yeah. And I feel that once you start wearing them, it makes it very hard for you to deal with glare. You train your eyes not to, and it becomes very terrible. So I've trained my eyes to deal with glare, and it's never a problem. And anyway, and which is kind of interesting. I think it's the same thing. We want to train ourselves to have this perspective. It's just a matter of habit.
Mm-hmm.
Much the same as training the eyes to deal with glare is a matter of habit. It's very fascinating,
Right.
very powerful, very, very powerful. Very, very, very cool. So, on the quick point here, there's more here, but I don't want to forget on this. I am hoping and assuming that you are making a note somewhere of these reflections of yours.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Because Robin asked, she was thinking about stuff and, going a little further, says, should I put it in my journal? Yes, everything, journal it all, add it all into your notes and your takeaways. Your takeaways isn't just about what goes on in the sessions. No, your takeaways is about everything. What
Right.
comes up in you is absolutely a vital part of the takeaways.
Mm-hmm.
It's a vital part. So, but in your case, this is what we are heading toward in the mourners. It is essentially Erica Jane, psychologist and philosopher,
Mm-hmm.
right? To add that to your titles of homemaker, partner, friend, being,
Mm-hmm.
person, human, yes, sentient being,
Right.
all part of your titles, yes.
For sure.
To add that there. So it's just nice to have it in a place where you can go back at some point and look it over. It's very valuable.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very valuable. It really gives us fantastic perspective. It's really cool. It's very, very cool. Most exciting. Yeah, I mean, this whole point when we start to look at, death as an opportunity to create life.
Mm-hmm.
Shifts things, doesn't it?
Sure.
Because that's what I see it as. That moment of transition into mourners, I feel that's when we have the opportunity to recreate ourselves. Yeah.
For sure.
Really, really leverage our intent, our cohesion, our togetherness, our integrity of self, our mindfulness, our deliberate awareness, to leverage this to the ultimate, to be able to be our own creators at that point.
Right.
Yes?
I agree.
Yeah, yeah. Very powerful. So, yeah, yeah. So the name of that story, by the way, is Someone Cool to Know.
Ah, I like it.
The sailing story. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. That's it, you know. I feel that I am so privileged, you know, just to know you, to know Bina, to know Kate, to know Sue, everyone, you know. It's
I
a real
agree.
privilege, you know. Cool people to know. Yeah, cool people to know. And Joe, I want to forget Joe. You know, I'm sorry, Joe. I did temporarily there, but you know, to me, Joe is a participant also.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, he was from the very start that magical shoulder. You know, I could just tell from that shoulder that there was a special person. That's a nice study of implication right there, by the way. Yes? The implications of that shoulder. So
Right.
many implications. It just fascinated me. It's so fantastic. So fantastic. Really cool. Really cool. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Very much. Very much. All right. Where we at, Eric? Unless there was more on this topic of mourners, that on this particular, you know, transition mourners. That's what I want to call it.
I'm sure there is, but I do want to be sure and keep going on the
Yes.
content so I don't get too far behind. So,
Yes, but we can't really. We can't really. You know, truly, I have shifted, and you know, for me, particularly with us, the program is in constant evolution and transition. So I feel, yes, you know, it is possible to lose a bit of continuity, but I have great faith in our ability to pick it up and say, oh yes, okay, I know, and just keep going. So I truly don't worry about that. And also in terms of time, unless you have a time pressure, I am not, because I feel these sessions where we get into the pertinence and relevance. Oh no, it is actually better with the glasses, because you're kind of tiny right now of what you're up there by the camera. I feel that when we do immerse in the pertinence and relevance of the moment, it is absolutely magically huge. Yes.
true.
Yeah, yeah, it's very powerful. I feel there's a lot out of it. Look at this whole thing with the particular, you know, transition mourners now, ultimate mourners. I don't know if it's ultimate. I'm reluctant to call it ultimate because I feel it's more like a beginning mourners, no, where you really now truly start into. It's like, wow, all right, this is a man. What a beginning here.
Right.
I feel this is very, very essentially very necessary, you know, and all we are doing is we are just bringing a topic forward that we would deal with later. It's
Right.
on the agenda. So all we're doing is just bringing it forward. And I like that, you know. So the PSP at the moment is serving the same function that, you know, a dinner date serves. When you know, it's the theme, it's the continuity, the food, the eating, and it allows you to say things and bring things in and be appropriate as needed. And then when that goes out, you go back to your main column. So it's very, very powerful. So yeah, I mean, I appreciate you wanting to go. I'm very happy to continue, but I don't want to stress it, is what I mean, you know. So
Right.
at least not
Right.
from my end. If you feel that you're getting behind it, you want to go, oh, just tell me, hey, we can do this another time, sure. So
Right.
yeah, I'll go by you. I'll go by you. Yeah.
Okay.
Brilliant, brilliant. All right. So where were we last?
Okay, I think we left off at the beginning of module 9.
We did, yes, yeah, or the end of session 8 or module 8, either way. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What?
Module 9. All right.
So whoops, I went past it. There we go. The first session of module 9 is being special. And there was one slide, just an FYI in here, that had it's with an apostrophe in the wrong place twice.
dear, oh dear.
Autocorrect always does that to me. It doesn't matter how I type in the
Yeah,
word, it puts it with an apostrophe in. Which
I
drives me
know it gets me every now and then as well. Bina, are you able to log in to it and correct that?
Slides.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
All right. It's PSP module 9 session 1. So all right, we'll get back to whichever one it is. So yeah, we'll just so we remember. Thank you though. I
Absolutely.
must give you that login, Erica Jane.
Yeah, yeah,
Just
that would
go
be
fix it if you want. You're more than welcome. Bina, do you have the login handy? I don't remember what it is off the top of my head now.
I'm just doing that right now.
Yeah, what's the login when you log in?
Oh, I guess I logged in from your account, so
Right, that's what I want to get. It won't work any other way.
it's open for me. I never put in a password. So
Okay.
okay, let me see.
Yeah. Well, I have to go. I'll look it up in LastPass. It's no problem. Yeah. All right. So keep going,
and
Erica. I'll give it to you in a moment.
this would have been, I don't have it separated by slides. I've got them in bullet points. I think this is a short session, so it was toward
Yeah,
the beginning,
yeah,
I think.
yeah,
This
yeah.
goes with ego when reassociated to the beneficial.
Say again.
Ego when reassociated to the beneficial is the beginning of that
Oh, the
paragraph.
beginning of that particular slide. Okay. So, hold on. Let me. Okay. So I'm just going to put it in Zoom chat for you because I don't want to open up browser windows.
Right.
So
Well, it sounded like Bina was.
yeah, no, I just want to give it to you in general in the future, and then if you do see something and you're in a mind to go and adjust it, then you can go and correct it. How's that?
Sure.
I mean, if you don't mind making the effort, if it's too much bother, then don't bother.
Yeah.
Just so that you have it right there, because sometimes it's a simple thing, So, and also you can do the slides there. You know what I mean? Also,
Right.
yeah, it's just double purpose. So, all right. I don't know. I just like to be shared and open like this. It's an option. It's kind of fun to see the back end of things. So, there we go.
Okay, so module 9 session
1. And the starting sentence of the slide is?
I got it. Thank you. Ego when reassociated to the beneficial.
That's the starting sentence in the slide, and then just keep reading till you get to where the the apostrophe must be deleted, omitted, right?
Right.
Yeah, without the
So,
apostrophe.
yeah, just let me know
For
when
it's.
Bina, and I'll tell you what I'm looking at. There we go. Perfect. Okay. So
There we go.
we're looking for ego when reassociated to the beneficial. That's going to be like the first sentence.
This one, ego's principal corruption stems from its main flaw. No, this says it's appropriately. Yes, yes. So next slide, Bina, keep going. Oh,
Not that one.
keep going.
Okay, should be right after this. Oh, it might have been the one that was down. Yeah.
Oh, underneath. It's in a quote.
So
Brilliant.
toward the end, we have little e
Yeah.
ego is substantially different to capital E ego. Its evolved version. There's an apostrophe there, and that should not be there.
And there's 2 of them. And the last sentence says, and its existence is threatened, also needs to get rid of the apostrophe. Right?
Yes, That's what I had.
Yeah, yeah. Both of them need to get rid of there. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, very cool. So just so you know, to edit these, you got to double click on the text, and then it puts you inside the text box, and then it's just you just click to move because it defaults to take the cursor to the very end, as you saw there. So there we go. Left arrow, backspace. Oh, okay. It's yeah, there's now. The S Bina. It's a slow S. There we go. And the other one also, Bina, just take out the apostrophe on the other one. 3 lines up, 2 lines up, a little bit to the right. There you go. There you go.
Perfect.
Thank you very much, Eric Dane. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Oh, I was trying to copy this out.
All right. All right. All right. Let's get out of there. Fantastic. All right. So where we at? Where we at?
Okay, I'm trying to copy the credentials you sent me before I forget. There we go. Okay, so for that session, I had a repeat back of ego, while not entirely bad, can cause us to get caught up in our apparent value rather than our actual value. BMX completely focused on little e ego, obsessing over how to make themselves appear special, the best, superior.
Yeah, cool repeat back.
And then I had a takeaway with, let's see, which slide is that? Oh, it must be the last one. Yeah. So the last, no, it's not the last slide. A slide in the session says, when it comes to ego, the BMN is obsessive, understanding it intimately, using even small amounts in others to exploit them. The simple ego issue of not wanting to cause a scene or unpleasantness of any kind, for instance, is regularly taken advantage of. Paying attention to how our own egos are perhaps leveraged alerts us and prevents us from being manipulated. And so I had a takeaway here that was a really interesting concept to me, because I hadn't necessarily thought about that particular behavior of not wanting to cause a scene being related to ego until it was stated that way. So I thought that was really interesting.
Cool.
And I was laughing thinking about that. I don't remember why I even thought about this, but I don't know if you've ever seen, oh my gosh, I got a bandit hair in my eye and it's making my eyes.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if you've ever seen the show Impractical Jokers. It's a really silly,
I think so. I think so. Yeah.
really ridiculous show, but it's basically the entire premise is the only reason that it's funny is because they do things to cause a scene and draw sort of unwanted attention to themselves.
Yes. Yes.
You know, they try to embarrass each other as much as possible. So I thought that was funny that, you know, I would never have necessarily thought about that before of being sort of a function of ego. And so it was really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
About the different
and that show would fail dismally if it was if they played the joke on people who had no ego.
Right.
It would just, I mean, it would be funny, and it would just be very lame. It would just backfire, and that would be funny. But yeah, but the show is premised on people being self-important, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, it was pretty interesting.
And also, though, that's very cool that you bring that show up, because I do know of the show. I mean, I'm not a great fan, but still, it's an interesting show to watch from a psychological point of view. To realize that it's not just a show about self-importance, but also a show about unaware of vulnerability.
Mm-hmm.
All those people really, okay, in this case, I think they're doing it on each other, right?
Right, right.
Right. But I mean, sometimes some of those shows, they leverage the public, and they same thing. People fall for it and they're embarrassed and all this. But again, they leveraging people's self-importance. But it's also they leveraging their vulnerability. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's important to be aware of that in this particular instance. That's a very vulnerable point with BMNs, and they are aware of this, and they leverage it to the maximum.
Right.
Yeah. Now, they also, it's a grand trick that it's a big bluff, by the way, for the most part, because they are very vulnerable to being caught up in a scene, and they don't care for it either, right? And they know this, and they just exploit it in other words. So they play the card knowing that people aren't going to take them up on it. But if you say, fine, let's make a scene,
Right.
the whole thing collapses.
Right.
Yeah. Now, they will get into a scene, but they will have it where basically they will leverage it in such a way that you are the one who's outraged and they the one on the defense.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all you and it's your thing. But if you say, fine, go ahead, make a scene. I'm chill. Yeah, go ahead.
Right.
Now it's on them to stand out. It just collapses right away. They can't do that because they don't want to be looking at it like the bad guy. They are trying to egg you on and spur you on into losing it and looking the bad guy. And then they'll be the one calming you down and looking like the good guy. So yeah, it's an instant hierarchy for them. Yeah.
Right.
Very clever trick.
True. Okay.
Effective, but effective. Let me ask you, how often did Phil do this?
All the time.
Yeah. Fascinating.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first question in the exercise was, how can we use ego itself to deal with ego? And I said, I think one way would be to follow the logic of, if I'm being too egotistical, I'll look bad. So in this way, we task our ego with letting us know when we're too.
Oh, I love that. Oh, I love that. I love that. Bina, get ready to put that into the program there somewhere.
Please repeat it for me, please.
Sure. If I am being too egotistical, I will look bad.
Yeah. Just put it as a quote in there somewhere. Underneath one of the slides, Erica Jane, you can pick which one you wear, or at the end, either way. But I think underneath one or between one of the slides. I'd actually like that to be in between one of the slides rather. If I am being too egotistical, I will look bad. There, Erica Jane pasted it in chat, Bina.
Oh, yes. Okay.
That's fantastic. So, and then you just attribute it to Erica Empowered. But we want to put it in between the slides. So maybe just after that slide we were working on, is this where your takeaway is more or less?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of where.
Okay, it doesn't matter, Bina. Just look there to see where it's appropriate, and don't put it right in front of another slide, another quote slide, or after it. Have a quote slide and then 2 slides, and then put it in if there's space, and then just add it in. So.
At least this pattern I know that.
All right, sorry, Bina. Sorry, I'm sorry. I'm on my bad. Sorry.
Precise
Well,
in
I'm
the.
also sharing just for Erica Jane,
Not for me. Kidding.
Oh no, it's good to remind me not to assume, so it's good.
Okay.
That's
The
keep going, Erica. What Bina put
next was, how can your ego be leveraged? In what way are we vulnerable to manipulation via ego? And I said, I think one way to leverage ego would be using it as a perspective shifting tool. For me, I think ego comes into play when considering what other people think of us or how we may appear to others. This gives ego an outsider's perspective in a way, which can be a useful leveraging tool for perspective shifting. I think we're vulnerable to manipulation via ego in that we can succumb to people who tell us what our egos want to hear in order to gain our favor in some way. This could include our appearance, our smarts, telling us that the way we think or feel is right or justified, etc.
Right. And I would suspect that by now, you have a mechanism to combat that. That if somebody's giving me a compliment, if it affects my behavior,
Right.
that then I need to be, I'm instantly on guard.
Mm-hmm.
And if there is some change of behavior associated with this compliment, like, so, when we start to look at it that way, is just how can I possibly, in impeccability, it's just an awareness thing. I cannot possibly change my behavior because of a compliment.
Right.
It's just idiotic. So it doesn't matter what you say. The behavior is going to be determined by its own creation. So, okay, thank you for all the compliments, but after a while, compliments like that, they actually become. I don't want to say irritating because I don't want to be irritating, but they just become lame. It's like, yeah, whatever. Come, get on with it. They don't have the desired effect because we're aware of what they are. If they're not sincere, they're just manipulation. And now, unless you shallow yourself, they cannot possibly have effect. Once we understand them for what they are, they just completely collapse. They become hollow. Yeah.
True.
Right.
True.
Oh, you're so pretty, Erica Jane.
Do what?
I'm just throwing a stupid compliment in there, just for purposes of illustration.
All I heard was something Erica Jane.
I said, "Oh, you're so pretty, Erica Jane." I was just trying to emulate that type of hollow compliment. I mean, yes, it's a true thing, but I was trying to get into that spirit, but I couldn't. And I'm glad you didn't hear it because it actually made it even funnier.
It was like, Erica Jane. I was like, what?
So I just throwing it out there, just thinking, how do people do that? I can't do it. It just.
Well, and I think it's so funny. I mean, I feel bad always using people like network marketing people on social media examples of this behavior, but I see that all the time.
Yes.
Selling things through Facebook or whatever. It'll be someone that you have not heard from in years. And they'll comment on some picture of yours and say, oh, I just love your hair, or God, you just look so great. And in the next sentence, hey, have you heard of blah blah blah? You should like. Do you think that you're like buttering me up by giving me some weird comment?
Right.
Very strange.
But the sad part is that nonsense on some people does work.
That's true.
I mean, look at those spellcasters that cast in the that cast. They cast their comments in the group. Oh, Dr. So-and-so spellcaster, love spell, whatever, money, I don't know, whatever nonsense you can imagine. Now, and they are, we see them regularly. I mean, you probably don't because we get rid of them so quickly. And they get nuked, we take them right out of the group and take all their comments and block them. So, but nonetheless, it's a regular thing. And it's not just an isolated individual here or there. I mean, by now, how many have we removed already? I don't know, probably 24 or so. So, it's amazing. I maybe even more than that. I don't know. I was thinking now. But at any rate, but this to me indicates that if you're doing this so persistently, not just one person, but multiple people, there must be something to it, no? Somebody must be falling for that stuff, right?
True.
So it's amazing. I mean, it must be working on some level.
This is true.
Very fascinating. So, and same with that. Oh, I can't stand him. That Wesley Virgin billionaire. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
He's this big guy. He's a British guy. He's very dark complexion. He's got all his muscles, and he's typically with a car and the girl. And Wesley Virgin billionaire. But man, whenever you see it, just watch one of his ads. it is repulsive beyond measure to me. But anyway, people keep plugging this like crazy, you know. So I'm assuming they're affiliates, but still.
Right. That's very interesting.
This is a good question. Just a quick little segue while it's on this. If you could think of something that would be valuable to the group in general, or if you do come across something, please let me know. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I am looking for stuff that is of value. And I was thinking about this when I was doing the cell phone stuff. You know, I did a lot of research. This is a pretty good deal that the cell phone that I got, it's unlimited, true unlimited. Like Verizon gives you unlimited, but they throttle it after a certain point, and it's very slow, and so it doesn't really work, right? So it's true unlimited for $30 a month. All right. The catch is you got to pay up front for the first 3 months, and then you got to pay for the rest of the year. You know, at $30 a month, it's not a big deal, you know, to pay for the whole year. It's not, and it's worth it, I think, anyway. So, but that's the catch. All right, so it's a good deal. So I thought I want to take stuff like this, which, because we have lots of research, and then go and say, well, okay, I feel this is a good deal, and I might as well get benefit out of it and pass the benefit on to the group, and then I, you know, go and affiliate with them and then pass that on, right? Okay, life is easy. So everybody benefits from it. So I do want to look for more things now. Okay, the phone thing is not one that I'm particularly keen to promote because it's not particularly related, but I can put it in there and say, okay, just buy the buy since everybody uses the phone and you connect. Okay, here you go. But anything that you find a product of some kind that is of real value and use, you know, a service, anything, you know, if we can put it into the group on an affiliate basis and it helps support the group, this is fantastic, you know. So
Yeah.
So it's just something to think about, you know, since you do connect to a lot of stuff out there. Yeah. So
Yeah, absolutely. I'll keep an eye out.
yeah, because, you know, we are affiliated with BetterHelp, but it's for a very small percentage of the group, and it's not really what the group is about. It's only, okay, I like it ethically because there are people that come into the group that need help, that like the one commenter said, the poster, he said, look, you know, if you're in serious trouble here, you know, you don't be listening to people in a group like this. You know, they may be well-meaning, but, you know, it's well-meaning, not necessarily effective.
Right.
So yeah.
True.
Anyway, so if you say something, just let me know. Just something to think about.
Okay, I will do it.
A fun deal, fun deal. Keep going, keep going.
Okay, so the next question, I have a correction on this one as well, which I can go in and mess with later if you guys aren't still logged in. But the question is, what are the positive aspects of ego? But it says aspect.
And this is still on session 1?
Yes.
All right.
So I said, I think ego is just one aspect that helps us determine what is appropriate when combined with other things like awareness, discernment, etc. It's an important part of our toolbox, and I think it can help us perspective shift to see ourselves as others might or do. The trouble is when we shift to relying solely on ego to determine our thoughts, behaviors, and actions.
Yes, 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 yes. So on this topic here now, the value of ego.
Mm-hmm.
And so that point there is that ego helps us to see ourselves as others see us, or helps us to be aware of how others see us.
Right, right.
When is this valuable?
I think, I mean, for me, I think it's valuable from a sort of diplomacy perspective, like wanting to, if you're wanting to maybe positively affect a situation, and you have to be sort of careful about how making sure that you're coming across in the way that you're intending to, or you know, that you're being perceived in the way that you are attempting to put yourself out there.
Right. So accuracy, to make it into an A term, since we like
Right.
A terms, right? So it's about accuracy and also authenticity in a different kind of a way, right?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you want to be authentic according to your objective and your intent.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Does it also leverage us? Thus, you can say that leverages us to have our appropriateness be more accurate and effective. Yes?
Right.
Okay. So it is valuable. We aren't doing things because of what people think. However, what people think does need to be taken into cognizance. If we are too out of whack with what they think, then we are looking for trouble. And we are a bit inappropriate, right? The reason I like to bring this up, because we're in Mournes now. I mean, just that's on a very regular basis. It's kind of darn obvious, right? In Mournes, we are saying, oh, but wait a second. We are going to learn from the BMN, and we are going to understand queuing, because BMNs are quite the masters of queuing, are they not?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at that last point about, oh, I'm going to make a scene. They just cue this. They don't say, oh, I'm going to make a scene if you don't agree with me, or don't go along with me if you don't condone what I'm saying, right?
Right.
They just cue it. So, but we want to understand this point about queuing, and we have to realize something, that at some point when you acquire awareness, when you acquire sensibility, when you acquire some small measure of independence of being, that moment that you unhook from the default freight train of conventionality, at that moment you become a queuer.
Mm-hmm.
That's it, whether you want to or not.
Right.
Right? At that moment, and a QO, an ethical QO, a sensible QO, even a BMN, like a BMN in a typical conversation, like in a meeting or in just a party or whatever, they are actually taking on a leadership role in a peculiar way, right?
Right.
It's a horrid, absolutely horrid leadership, but nonetheless, it's what they are actually doing. They're typically leading the conversation, they are leading the interaction, they are leading people in terms of their thoughts, their opinions, their mindsets to a particular point, which is glorification of the BMN, right? But it's still a leadership. It's a very messed up leadership, but still a leadership. And the reason they get away with this is because, for in some peculiar roundabout way, the BMNs are actually acting somewhat independently outside of the boundaries of convention, and they are willing to do something that others are not,
Right.
which is to take the lead. And they know this. That's why they will jump into opportunities when somebody says, oh, who can do this? They say, oh, me. Yeah, because they realize that people are a bit hesitant, and earnest good people in particular are reluctant and hesitant to volunteer. Just their humility just sets them, in a situation where they can't easily volunteer, right? So if we look at this in the context of leadership, and we look at the queuing, the moment we start to be independent and start to be sensible, right? Oh, oh,
Oh, wow. That's a beautiful.
oh,
I love it.
that's beautiful. That's beautiful. And I love the picture in terms of just the symbolic abstractness of this. This is absolutely fantastic, Pina. Wow, wow, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, good job, good job, good job. I like that little symbol there. Is that Erica Jane's little symbol?
Yes, because
Erica dash empowered.
oh, okay. But peacock is somehow a bit symbol of ego and
Yeah,
facade.
this is more subtle. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes, uh, and in the background, it is a bit blur, a bit messy.
Yeah,
It's
yeah. That's the beauty of this. Yeah, yeah.
resonating with your code. So, okay, I'm
Yeah,
glad
but
you
I
like
mean the little symbol on the left there, bottom left, like I don't know, just like
for these.
little logo for Erica Jane,
Yeah.
Just
Carry on.
seems like. So when we see this, we look at BMNs and we say, oh, you know what? They are taking on a leadership role. But then we need to become aware that whether we want to or not, we are going to be leaders simply because of who we are.
Mm-hmm.
We can't avoid it, right? Now we say, bloody hell, I'm not asking for this. But people are going to be looking at you in terms of what you do, what you say, what you think, what you feel, regardless. So now you better do this impeccably. Right?
Right.
And then we've talked about this before. There's only one thing that I can ethically cue, and that's choice or awareness. Yeah? Okay. So then we shift into that. But also, we need to understand that we are going to be queuing others, whether we want to or not. So if we are going to be doing this, then we may as well do so effectively and efficiently and appropriately. And to tie this back to the point that started this, which was about being aware of how others perceive us.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So typically I find with people who have it together and earnest good people, especially if they suffer from excessive humility and modesty, they don't realize how people do look at them.
Right.
Not necessarily look up at them, but look at them, look to them. And they sometimes can cause a lot of problems by deliberately unqueuing or giving conflicting queuing. They see you sensible, but yet you kind of abrogate this and cancel it and negate it, and you put out these vibes of uncertainty and doubt and anxiety and all sorts of other stuff. It tends to make people very negative and irritated and even angry with you.
Mm-hmm.
Bina had a good example of this. I don't remember the example now. I'm sorry, Bina, but anyway, it just stuck in my mind. With somewhere along the line, there was a girl uh, who was basically devaluing herself in terms of marriage potential, right? And it really annoyed her friends because their entire lives revolving around, or not Bina's friends, but girls that she knows. So these girls, their lives revolved around getting a husband. That's the world they grow up in. That's the thing, and they're into it. I mean, it's not like they've been forced along; they're into it. So here comes along another one who's like got all the goods but doesn't use it, and this really irritated them. So it's the same logic, when people see that you've got a bit of moreness and you aren't exercising it, not that you need to take on a leadership position, but at least that you are accepting of your own sensibility and your own sobriety and your own moreness, not canceling it and not negating it and not denying it. That's the point. It was the denial of moreness that is very irritating to people. You don't have to go and crow it and push it about. It's just do not deny it, right?
Right.
So in this, to tie it all back to the awareness of others, of us, it's very powerful. It's very powerful.
For sure.
It makes us realize that it's not an ego thing to accept and own your moreness.
Right.
Just an honesty thing. And also, it's a strategic necessity. Don't do it, and you're going to now really cause yourself problems. Yeah?
Absolutely.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Very cool. Very cool. What's next?
Okay, so the last question from this session was, how do we resolve the specialness issue? How are we both legitimately special and not special at the same time? Where does humility fit into this? And I said, the first thing that comes to mind for me with resolving the specialness issue is to just be. If we focus our intent on just being, and specifically just being ourselves, not relative to anyone else, we don't need to be concerned with being special. We're just being us. To me, special connotes difference, a positive difference in relation to someone else. If we stop comparing ourselves with others and focus on being the best version of us, specialness as a priority falls away.
Yes.
I think we are legitimately special in that we are all wonderfully unique individuals who are truly special and different from one another in really fascinating ways. And each of us is having a uniquely individual experience.
Yes.
But at the same time, those unique differences and experiences don't make us universally and unequivocally better than anyone else. They just make us different. This is where humility comes into play for me.
Yes. And the magic of celebrating difference. To me, I am special because I celebrate my difference.
Right.
But it doesn't end there. At the same token, I celebrate the special difference of everybody else. So everyone is special because we are all different. And this is the fault with difference and special where people get stuck. They assume special makes you, the hierarchy says there can only be one that's special. No, nonsense. Everybody can be special. Everybody is special.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Very cool. Very cool.
Okay.
Lemon tea,
Ooh.
hot lemonade.
Uh,
Bina, a little quick aside. Do me a favor, please. Just send Kay a message, just that we're thinking of her. She was really strongly in my heart there when you said peace of being, you know. It's really triggered. So, yeah. Thinking of you, Kay. See, just maintaining that connectivity.
mhm.
Really
Yes.
thinking of you, Kay. Because it's an intent now. Now it's very specific. So I want to use every opportunity to do this.
Okay. Okay. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. And yesterday was Kay's graduation day, by the way.
Yes, I
Yes.
heard that. I heard about that.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Big day for
What
us.
what a fabulous day. Oh, it was just too magical. What too magical. So yeah. I don't know if Erica can graduate. I think you're in a different hemisphere, a stratosphere. I don't know if it's possible anymore. So anyway,
It's
very cool. Very
already happened in way of impeccability, but in moreness, no. It's a different deal now.
cool.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah. Very exciting. Very exciting. It's very exciting. But it's open ended, you know, that's the beauty of things. So it's very cool.
Right. Absolutely.
Very cool. So you're sending the message to Kay, right? You're in our heart, Kay. You really are. I really are. Actually, just
Yes, right
a
now.
little to the left and below. Yeah. Yeah, it's a particular spot when you said that I feel her there. It's very particular. Yeah, so
Absolutely.
see, see,
Oh, fancy.
right there. Oh, I didn't mean to show the face.
I
Right
like
there
it.
is the spot. Right there. See,
I like it.
right there. You know, a little to the side of where you would normally say the heart is, I think. But anyway, so
I like
but
it.
kind of tucked in there. So, yeah. I really feel it as a literal feeling. I find it quite fascinating.
Yeah.
It
That's good.
works. It works. It works. Yeah. I mean, very fancy today. This is like a velvety one. It's very fancy.
Oh, very cool. I
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah.
See, you look sort of Christmassy. I like it.
Oh, put ribbons
Purple,
on me next.
red, and yeah,
There we go. I'll put ribbons around. Yeah. Yeah,
very
very
good.
interesting.
Santa
I
Claus.
like that. You tickled Bina with that one. I'm always amused at what amuses Bina. If you can figure it out, Erica Jane, that's a, you know, there's something in it for you. I don't know what, but some magical reward will come your way if you can figure out what amuses Bina consistently. I have
Okay.
no idea. No
But I
idea.
like that the white and red and velvety and fancy and the glittery.
Yeah. I just
Right?
need a bit of I need a bit of green. Then I'll be perfectly Christmassy. Oh, what do I have that's green? Anyway, carry on. I'll find something green. I'll find. I don't think I have, but we'll see. We'll see.
Well, it's like Silk Claus or Santa Grill. You know.
Oh
So,
dear, I have to grow the beard again for that.
yeah, there you go. There you go.
Uh,
Okay. So, Module 9, Session 2 is one-sided. And this was a pretty short session, so I just had one quick repeat back, and that was BMNs lure others in with initial ego boosts and take advantage of the natural reciprocation typically involved in relationships to create parasitic connections with others, which they use to feed their ego.
Parasitic connections with others. Yes, that is what they do. Parasitic connections. Buggers.
Okay, and then the exercise, the first question of the exercise was, how do we guard against cynicism when considering our friends and acquaintances as to their motives? How do we leverage our understanding to see others accurately as well as positively?
How do we do what as well as the last sentence again, please? Sorry.
How do we leverage our understanding to see others accurately as well as positively?
Ah, right. Accurately. Yes. Yes.
And
Accurately and positively. This is very important. And all right. Hang on. Keep going. Sorry.
so I said, I think one important factor of awareness for me is balancing the need to be aware with the possibility of drawing too much attention and focus to a possible negative simply by being aware of it. I think the resolution here is finding an appropriate balance between the two. Choosing to stick our heads in the sand and avoid awareness about our friends and their motives so that we don't expose ourselves to a possible negative is, for me, irresponsible and not well thought through. But in our quest for awareness about motive, we may inadvertently accentuate and create negative outcomes by giving too much attention to their possibility. So for me, we guard against cynicism through appropriate attention management. In this way, we leverage our understanding of attention, choice, appropriateness, balance, etc., to see others accurately and positively.
Wow, 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 wow. And also we are aware, are we not, that we can deliberately give others the benefit of the doubt. However, we don't do this without losing our understanding and our sensibility and losing our awareness that we are doing this deliberately.
Right.
Right? We never let go of the fact that we are doing this deliberately. It's like a loan that we are giving to somebody. We give our opinion, our good opinion, out on loan, right? And the same thing. If I lend you something, I lend it with a full trust. If you abuse the thing that I'm loaning you, then you're not going to get that privilege again, right? And I'm going to, if I see you abusing whatever it is, I'm going to recall my lawnmower or egg toaster or whatever the thing is.
True.
No idea what an egg toaster is, but
Say, I'm not sure what an egg toaster is, but
no.
you know.
It's a magical invention only found on Nobilia.
Aha. I like it.
Yeah. They use a special variation of the great gravity engines, miniaturized versions, so that you can actually suspend a broken egg in a toaster and toast it.
Interesting.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
for the hell of it, for no other reason than that somebody figured, well, this would be a fun idea to do. So
Yeah, there you go.
yeah,
I like it.
yeah.
I like it.
Because they look back in time and they saw, oh, this is something that came up in one of the conversations, an egg toaster. Well, what the hell is an egg toaster? Well, they saw Erica Jane ask the question. So, well, Erica Jane, here you go.
I like it.
Yeah.
Sounds like a meeting.
But this is very important. And so also, in the same way as we trust suspiciously, we also can love a bit suspiciously, yes?
Right.
Especially with new people, that we don't particularly know well. We give our love, but we have that little caution,
Right.
that holds that there to say, okay, it's out on loan. It's out on loan. Yeah. Initially, it's out on loan. It's very important. So we don't give it with that complete commitment. And this I see earnest people do. They meet a new person and suddenly they're best friends for life and they're all involved. And the next thing it's a beer man and then they can't get out.
Right.
Wow.
Absolutely.
I had a green headband that I sometimes use to sleep if I don't want to put in a ponytail to keep the hair in place. But I was going to put it on as a collar for the green, but I can't find it, dang it. So.
Well, that's okay. You got a green screen behind you. We just have to imagine it is.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Yes. But I wanted to be wearing something green, All right. Well, there we go.
Imagination.
Extra.
There you
Little wrapping. So that was lying around, Andy. I just looked and it caught my eye. Green. It was right there, with like a little travel bag, And well, here we go. I'll see. This is my man purse. You see.
Oh,
It actually looks like a backpack, but it isn't unless, I don't know. There's no place to, I don't know what these are. They're just like elastics that are loops. You can't really put it on your belt. It'll be a bit, I suppose you could, but it's a little weird. But anyway, it's insulated, so it will keep stuff warm or cold in here. It is a most peculiar design because it's very small and it's not very well. Anyway, so I got it as a gift and it's my little handbag now. So Yeah, yeah. It's my keys and, COVID gloves and the mask and, stuff like that in there. So,
That's
yeah,
good.
yeah. It's efficient. It's
Um,
efficient.
all right. So the last question of this session is, when we examine our friends in the light of their motives, does this lead to a reevaluation of our relationships with them? If we don't reset our friendships in the light of new awareness, then what? And I said, I think if we examine our friends in light of their motives, it would certainly be appropriate to reevaluate our relationships based on what we discover. I think this is true of virtually everything in our lives, beliefs especially. In
Yes.
addition to new awareness, I think we can reset our friendships based on appropriateness and value, among
Yeah.
others.
Yeah. Wow. That's pretty huge, no?
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
That's pretty huge. Have you found this to be something that you've needed to do to reevaluate a friendship based
Um,
on motives?
Not in a grand sense, I
Oh,
don't
okay,
think.
good.
I think,
More an acquaintance then, yeah.
yeah, but not a close friendship.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. And that's why I'm very excited for you, because I feel that you are going to be making new friendships. Now, they might not necessarily become deep personal friends, but
Mhm.
it doesn't matter. This particular connectivity is one which can be friendships where it's not like you're on Facebook every day or every second day. You can
Right.
you can see each other once or twice a year, 2 3 years. It doesn't matter. It's a different type. It may be more than that, but there's a range of options involved, and this is a very different thing. It doesn't take any iota away from the intensity of the interaction when it's there. It's a very magical thing. So I cannot tell you how thrilled I am about this. And the only thing that I would say from my side, I would say make every effort you can to actually go and visit these people.
Right.
I don't care if you have to fly out there just for a weekend, even. It is absolutely worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, even if you would like on a long weekend. It's absolutely, you take a sick day on either side and there you go. You make it a 5-day deal. Absolutely worth it. Absolutely worth it. Yeah.
For sure.
No matter how much you got to stretch and contort things to make it happen. I mean, I cannot emphasize just absolutely how huge and important this is.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a very, very, very big deal. Yeah. Transformative. I mean, a gateway, a real gateway. So, and I'm assuming that you feel the same way. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's my opinion on this. Like I said, I try not to share my opinion, but I feel very strongly on this one, Erica.
Right.
I really do. I really do. It's hard to comprehend until we've experienced it, and that's why I'm making an extra push on it. I mean, once you do, then it's like it'll be a duh. It just takes one. It'll be a duh. So yeah. I mean, in the meantime, you guys could just go and visit Sue
Right.
and Donna. They're not too far away. But it's kind of a long drive. I think they're like 8 hours away. So I don't know, maybe. But you can just fly. It's short flight. So Philadelphia to Cleveland. So
Mm. Yeah.
if you make it a layover type of a thing, I don't know. I don't fly that much, but you know how to works. I'm assuming, so you can figure it
Yeah.
out. So it just would be different. It just would be different from a connectivity point of view. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, different worlds. That's the fun part of it. And the magic with Sue is she's connecting to people who grew up in different worlds.
Mm-hmm.
She did not.
Right.
She created that world. She educated herself in terms of awareness, her sophistication, her finesse, her understanding into that world, and that's very cool. Very cool. It's not a common thing to see. You know, where it is what it's meant to be. Yes, a lot of people try. But they don't, it's a phony thing. It's an ego thing. She's there because this is what really works for her. It's her soul, her spirit. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Same with you. Same with you. I see the same thing. Yes.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
I mean, you are looking to literally transform your physical environment as well as your internal and your spiritual, your emotional and psychological environment, philosophical environment. You also make an effort in your physical environment. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. 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 I look forward to your new houses to see what they would look like.
Me too.
Yeah. 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 I feel at some point your housing, particularly the interior, will be very different to what it may have been in the past.
Right.
Would you agree?
I think it's certainly a possibility.
Yeah. Cool. I'm just speculating. I'm just curious to see. I like to test my speculation. I'm just guessing, but still, it's exciting. It's exciting stuff. All right, keep going.
Okay. Session 3 is 1 up. And my repeat back for this session was BSers think that tricking you, deceiving you, or catching you in an apparent logic bubble makes them smarter than you, and they will go to extreme lengths to set up these situations so that they can get an ego boost.
Yeah. And that ties back to the previous point of the necessity of being able to see how others see us. If you coming into a circumstance and you see a man that says, "Oh, here's a sucker," say, "Hey, I got to do something about this." First of all, I'm not a sucker, but I don't particularly care if they do perceive me as a sucker or not. It just makes for an extra complication and a hassle and a nuisance, right?
Right.
So therefore, I have to change what I'm doing just as a pure matter of strategic necessity and value. Yeah.
Good.
Also, on that previous point of where we were saying to leverage ourselves and to understand from a point of queuing that we are going to be queuing no matter what, simply because we've decided to get onto this path of self-determination.
Mhm.
Right? Those who have not done so, you look to those who have done so. It's not a
Right.
better or worse thing. They just say, I don't want the responsibility, so I'm going to get it from you. Okay, it's a kind of a lazy way of doing it, but there's a energy management sense to it. Some people are more comfortable following than they say, I'm quite content to follow, but I'll just pick the right people to follow, and it makes sense. There's an energy management value to it, so it's not a negative thing. Like I said, it's a valid path.
Right.
But in this, the most profound queuing that we can possibly put out is to be unapologetic about ourselves.
Mhm.
This, I feel, from a Mourners project, is our responsibility.
Right.
Right? Our task, our goal, our focus, to get to that space where we are completely unapologetic about who we are.
Mhm.
Right? We are unapologetic about our mourners, about our finesse, our sophistication, our nuance, whatever it is, doesn't matter. We are unapologetic about it. Yes? Unapologetic about being philosophers and psychologists. Yeah?
Yeah.
Unapologetic about being noble.
Right.
This is a hard thing for earnest good people. It's not an easy thing, but now that we get into the space, it becomes easier and easier. And as I say it now, I don't feel it's an issue at all, actually.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, I think it's.
Bina, how about for you? I can't see you, so I can't see. But I don't feel that this is an issue for you any longer either, right?
Sorry, I was busy in texting. Okay,
Oh, good, good.
I missed a bit, so
Awesome.
please
I
just
was
repeat
saying,
it. Mhm.
when it comes to queuing, the most powerful queuing that we have that is also ethically sensible and that's absolutely appropriate is for us to be unapologetic about our mourners, whatever form that mourners takes, right?
Mhm.
Doesn't matter. Unapologetic. And this is absolutely essential, because if we do apologize for our mourners, we are going to get that resentment I spoke about earlier. Right? So it's absolutely key to be unapologetic about our nuance, our finesse, our sophistication, our philosophizing, whatever it is, whatever our mourners happens to be. Or if you have a talent, like Edith Piaf, she was unapologetic about a whole range of talents that she had, right? Unapologetic about joy, beauty, whatever it is, unapologetic, right? It's very, very important. And this is what the point and the aim of the mourners is. And I was trying to say that I feel that we are getting into that space where it's no longer an issue, that we are not in a space, all three of us collectively, where we are apologetic about our mourners. Yeah. So I was saying, I mean, I can see it in Erica Jane. I'm feeling it more and more. It's been a lifelong thing for me, actually, you know, Erica Jane. And you helped me in this, and so does Donna and Bina. So this is a big deal. But do you feel that you are getting into that space of being unapologetic about your mourners, Bina?
Okay, yes, it's a process and I'm getting there, but I feel that appropriateness is still sometimes it's a demand of being appropriate to not show.
Oh,
And
sure.
I say
Oh, sure. Oh, sure. Yeah.
I just avoid being
Yeah.
being in light that because I don't want people to feel
Yeah,
uncomfortable.
your situation is very particular, and it requires extra nuance of strategy and sophistication. So yes, in the light of your circumstances, yes, but that's externally, but internally, different deal. Yes.
Saying that I'm not apologetic anymore about myself. It's not about me, but I know that people around me, it might be. It is just
Correct.
my understanding. Might be.
Yeah.
Not sure.
Yeah.
So it's a demand of being appropriate.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, very cool, Bina.
By the
Very cool.
way, Kay responded and she said that just to share as it comes. I said that to her, and she says, "Thanks, Bina. I'm feeling well, except a small cough. Trying to make myself really take it easy for the next few days. Apparently,
Oh, good.
5 or 6 days. You are at some risk of it getting worse. So Sarah and I are just hanging out.
Oh,
Thanks
good.
for me.
Oh, good.
So,
Oh, good.
I don't think so that it's going to be a serious thing. I
No.
feel that
Yeah.
it will be resolved soon.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
Smile.
Oh, good. Erica, does Kay know how she contracted it?
No, she doesn't know
Or
anyone
guess, at least.
who has it, so she doesn't have any particular guess, but she has been, I mean, she's been grocery shopping in person. You know, she's always had a but she's been grocery shopping. She's been going over to one of her friends' houses to make masks quite often. They go out to eat, and quite often when they do that, she's been going over to her friend David's house to listen to him practice. So she has been out in the world.
Yeah,
And
that's
for
why
long,
I'm happy to stay contained, boy. I don't know.
yeah,
Still, we have
okay.
to trust. It's all good. We really have to trust. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
All right, cool. Keep going, Erica Jane. Keep going.
So, first question from this exercise was, we clearly see the delusion of the BSer. How come it's not obvious to them? What's the problem and the trap? How do we avoid similar in the abstract? And I said, I think this is probably due in part to the awareness bubble that they're in. To them, their actions and logic make perfect sense and are the only clear way to get what they want, as facing the real truth is too much for them to bear. The problem for me is that when you give in to your indulgences about the truth, especially when related to the self, one self-lie quickly turns into another once we see how much easier this appears to be compared to facing the hard truth. And eventually we create such a complex web of lies that we see no easy way out. To avoid this, I think one important factor is becoming okay with making quote unquote mistakes and facing them. When we get comfortable with admitting fault and switch our intent from being right to learning, growth, and awareness, we're more easily able to face hard truths and work through them.
Yes. Wow. All right, cool. Uh, for earnest good people, what would you say is a hard truth or an awful truth or a difficult truth that they struggle with, but in a positive sense?
Positive, something they struggle with in a positive sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hard truth, but it's a positive hard truth. But it's, the hell is going on now?
Oh, that's a really good song.
Maryland. No, I will not answer. Sorry.
Boy, that was a very fancy ringtone.
I had no idea. At the first time I experienced that, I was like, what the hell is going on now? Because I don't, well, they called on Google Voice, so I don't know. You know, I don't use the number. I just connected it to Google Voice, so I keep that same phone number, you know, which is what its kind of purpose is.
Right.
So I don't know. That's a new one for me. I think before, Google Voice on my computer has a peculiarity that it would never make a sound, which makes no sense to me. You know, so people would call, I guess, and they would never answer. They would just text me, and still they didn't make a sound for the text even. So I just got in the habit of checking it regularly. But now that I've connected it to the phone, it rings through to the phone, and that's where the sound comes from. So, interesting. That was fun. So I'm thinking in the sense that something that earnest good people struggle with, that to them is kind of a hard truth, but yet it's a positive. And I'm thinking of their mourners.
Right, right.
They struggle to acknowledge their mourners. And man, it's such a waste. You know, it's philosophy of opposite, right? It's this topsy-turvy world that actually the thing that you fear is the thing to do. You
Right.
know, they fear acknowledging their mourners, embracing it, living it, and they fear especially enjoying their
Mhm.
mourners.
True.
Isn't that amazing?
True.
Are we all victims of this in the past sometimes? Yes,
Mhm.
we have been, right? And it's just, you know, when we look back, it's kind of ludicrous, no?
Right. That's true.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And it's sort of an insult to the universe also, is it not? Yeah, it's a bit rude. If we think of it that way, just to leverage that, it's a bit rude not to appreciate and enjoy and celebrate and your mourners, no?
True.
It's really intriguing. It's really intriguing. Bina, were you able to get Spotify to work?
Nope, not yet.
What's that?
No.
Oh, all right. It's amazing. It used to before Bina logged in as me to avoid
Yeah.
the country restriction, as
Mm.
I have two accounts anyway, and I wanted it to play a particular song. I wonder why Bina now all of a sudden.
All of a sudden, maybe after running that just 5 year and something like that. So maybe.
But still, I don't see why.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit strange. Did we set it up via a screen share? Maybe. Anyway, no matter. All right, I'll
Okay.
figure it out. I'll figure it out. I have to. I want to play a song, but anyway, keep going, keep going, keep going.
Okay, so how do you deal with continuous one-upmanship?
Mm,
For me, the only way that seems to make any real difference is to not place any value in the BSer's belief that their one-upmanship makes them better.
yes.
Recognize behavior for what it is, a sad attempt on behalf of the BSer at boosting their own ego, helps to avoid falling into their trap. And the less we care about their one-upmanship, the smaller the ego boost that the BSer gets from the interaction. I think part of what encourages them to repeat this behavior is when we react to their nonsense and participate in the charade.
Yes. That's the key. When we react to their nonsense. So the key really is a complete and utter de-emphasis to not even notice it, right? Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, and this is perfect timing because the last question in this session, which is the last one that I got all the way through,
Excellent.
is if we have our stuff sorted. I love hearing, what's his name? Albert Arnold, whatever the name you've given to the voice in the program, Albert.
Oh,
right?
yeah, Albert. Yes, Albert. Yeah.
Hearing him try to read the sh
Yeah, bush, bullshitters. Yes,
only have our t sorted.
yes.
What are motivations for interacting?
Yeah.
Why bother? What's in it for us? And what do we use as our base paradigm for doing? I said, I think one of the only benefits of interacting, I assume that this question was about what are our motivations for interacting with a BMN or a BSer.
Yeah.
So I think one of the only benefits of interacting with a BMN is to learn about their psychology. There is value in their movements for us because it teaches us what not to do.
Yeah.
And it teaches us about default human psychology.
Yeah.
I think our base paradigm for doing, if attempting to rise above the PSP, is one of learning, growth, and awareness.
Yeah, exactly. And also they are just very useful as examples of psychology, that, alternative opposite logic psychology. And this is pretty cool. This is really cool. Oh. Dang nabbit. I can hear it nicely, but I'm on speaker, so you guys won't hear it. So that's no good. I forgot. I was packing the van, and I'm having, because I've been packing it really slowly. It's packed really, really well now. I even got 2 armchairs into the van, and I still got tons of space left over. So this, it's really fun. So I was saying to Bina, I'm a genius because I got the armchairs in. So that's I wanted to play the song "I'm a Genius, Genius." Do you know which one I mean? You do or no?
I think so.
Yeah, probably. Oh, you hear it, you'll probably know. So I don't know if this is the song or not. I don't think so, because this is a different part of the movie. Yeah.
I
This
love
is
the
not it.
sunshine.
Yeah, this is, but I typed in, this in the search. Oh, here we go. Okay. And that's the first one that came up, but then I couldn't remember because I think the name of the song isn't "I'm a Genius, Genius," it's something else. So I wanted to play for Bina, but that's what I want. That's why Spotify. I'm going to look it up on Spotify, but it wouldn't work. So
Well,
it says Manchester here. So I think this is the one. I
yeah.
think it's when he's on the. Yeah. This is it. Yeah. Yeah, it's when he's when he's all high. Yeah, he starts singing in a moment. Yeah, here we go.
Oh, yeah.
Can you hear?
Mhm.
Well, wait till he starts singing. He's going to start singing in a moment. Oh, that's the name of the song, Manchester. There you go. Here's the line, Bina. I'm a genius. Mhm. All right, there we go. That was it. That's it. That's all I remember from it. Just I'm a genius. Genius is the only, but I didn't remember the rest, But anyway, just for fun.
Bryce,
That's for fun. So
I
yeah.
have, but I have a
Yes.
fun thing for you guys to listen to when I jump off.
Oh, we got what?
I just put it in chat. Look that up and listen.
Oh, exciting. Okay. We will do. We will
to
do. Where you off to? Erica? Where you off to?
I have a whole bunch of stuff that I need to pick up from.
Oh, brilliant. I love it. I love that you have all this stuff going on. It makes me very happy.
Is
Very happy.
I haven't ever looked it up, and I need to find out the history because I assume that this was an actual real song that Hanna-Barbera just got rights to, and I don't think it was actually written for Scooby-Doo. But the only reason that I know this song, the original Scooby series, they would always have a chase scene and they would play some.
Yes.
And this song, above all else, it's in one of my favorite Scooby episodes of all time, The Creeper. I love that episode. And this song plays, and it makes me laugh every time. It's about, even though the name is Daydreamin', it's about being in love with an ostrich. And it makes me laugh.
Oh my goodness. Oh, I don't see the just lyrics. Brilliant. Yes. Yes, it's a happy song, Erica Jane. Yes. With your head in the sand. Brilliant. Yes.
Yeah. It's
Most
a
excellent.
hysterical song, but
Ah,
every time I think of Scooby.
yes, this is a good note to play out on. So yes. Yeah, good closing song, Erica Jane. Good closing song. Yeah, I think from now on you'll have to find one for end of every session to play you out on.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that.
Oh gosh. For fun, like.
So is the ostrich a boyfriend or a girlfriend?
Girl,
Both. Ah, okay.
oh dear.
Well, just go out in the sun because it's so much fun.
Yeah.
Yes. Gee, but it's grand to rhyme with sand. Brilliant.
Oh gosh.
I love this. This is really cool.
I love all of the songs from Scooby. I don't know how, like I said, I don't know if they were written for that show or whether it was just like obscure songs that they found, but I love them.
Interesting. Yeah, it says Scooby-Doo Snack Tracks album.
Yep. It's a good one.
Very cool. All right, very cool. Yeah, so we'll start looking for, the appropriate song on the day. Whatever comes up, we'll just go on YouTube it and then we'll play it in or play it out either way, It'll be fun. It's just a nice little extra thing to do, just for connectivity. Yeah, it's very cool. Brilliant.
All right. Well, I will see you in
Yes. Bye-bye, Erica. Oh, so magical. So what's today? Thursday. We see you tomorrow 2 hours early, yes?
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Oh, just looking forward to it. It's very cool. Bye-bye, Erica. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. And again, I was going to say, send my love to Kay. Now, I do hope that you passed on, it was from all of us, not just from you, right?